Want to enslave you for more than half of your woken hours for a lot of money. And if I see you are not as I wanted, I'll fire you because it's my money.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into an overview of a fascinating, highly structured methodology that claims it literally has the power to transform human civilization. Yep, you heard that right. We're taking a close look at a framework called the Global Life Plan. Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, the source material drops a massive statement. To quote them directly, this is not just a daily schedule. It is a global lifestyle model that any human can adopt to live a balanced, productive, healthy, spiritual, and family-centered life. I mean, wow, that is a bold claim, right? It immediately sets the stakes for what we're about to unpack. So here's our roadmap for today. 1. A universal model. 2. The daily blueprint. 3. Beating the biggest models. 4. Why anyone can do it. And 5. A global renaissance. It's essentially a macro journey to see exactly how this whole thing works logically and impartially. Starting with part 1, a universal model, a framework built for anyone. Let's take a macro view at what actually makes this model so incredibly unique. The author actually gives this plan a staggering 9.6 out of 10 rating. Why? Well, mostly because it's built entirely on basic human actions. You don't need elite skills, you don't need a ton of money. It's designed to perfectly balance 5 key areas of life without demanding that crazy rigid discipline we see everywhere else. It's all about moderate, realistic routines that are sustainable, meaning no burnout. It's something anyone could actually stick to over the long haul. Moving on to part 2, the daily blueprints, breaking down the 24 hours. Let's zoom into the micro level here. How exactly does this model structure a single day to get such high projected ratings? Now, what's really interesting here is the deliberate, almost mathematical balance of hours. Check out the distinct 5-hour work block and then this massive 4-hour creativity block. On top of that, it carves out 7 hours for sleep, 3 hours for family and relaxation, and 5 hours dedicated entirely to personal, health, and spiritual development. It's a highly structured, but honestly incredibly well-rounded approach to a day. Let's see how this actually builds chronologically. You start off by waking up and energizing at 7 a.m. That paves the way for deep, concentrated work block starting at 10. Then, by 4 p.m., you pivot completely into that creativity block. This could be learning, creating, or even community work. 8 p.m. is reserved for sports and fitness, and midnight, that is a hard stop for sleep. This rhythm just totally chunks a complex day into predictable, manageable pieces that actually respect human psychology. Next up, part 3, beating the biggest models, the data showdown. So how does this theoretically stack up against the world's most famous high-intensity routines? Well, when the author compares the Global Life Plan against the classic CEO plan, the Silicon Valley plan, and an academic research plan, the results are pretty striking. The author claims the global plan outperforms them all across almost every single metric. We're talking productivity, creativity, and especially health and spirituality. Those areas where intense corporate models usually just fall totally flat. So, the crucial point to take away here is the sheer scale of this plan's dominance. In the author's own evaluation, it wins an incredible 14 out of 15 global categories. It is quite literally pitched as the most balanced, scalable, and impactful model in existence right now. But there is one single, truly fascinating tie-in in the data. For economic potential, the Global Life Plan scores a 9. And that is the exact same score given to the highly intense CEO and Silicon Valley routines. Essentially, the author is suggesting that you do not need 12-hour workdays to achieve peak economic output. A focused 5-hour work block, nested inside a balanced life, theoretically yields the exact same economic potential. Talk about a game changer. Which brings us to part 4, why anyone can do it. Implementation tactics. Let's pivot to practical application for a second. How on earth does the author suggest an average person actually adopt this whole thing without just immediately burning out? Let's be real, looking at a highly structured 24-hour schedule can be super intimidating. That's exactly why the source emphasizes a start small approach. Do not try to perfectly execute the whole shebang on day 1. For the first 72 hours, you just focus on hitting 4 essential scaffolding blocks. Wake up, work, sport, and sleep. That's it. Strip away all the complexity and just focus on building the foundation. From there, it really just becomes an exercise in behavioral psychology. You want to remove friction. Prepare your clothes the night before, keep your workspace clean, and absolutely avoid multitasking. Then you apply the 1% rule. Wake up just 10 minutes earlier. Walk for just 5 minutes more. Read a single page of a book. The secret to consistency here is not perfection. It's actually accepting imperfection and aiming for tiny, sustainable, rapid-fire daily upgrades. Finally, Part 5, a global renaissance, civilizational outcomes. Let's zoom all the way back out and explore the source's most ambitious projections. What would actually happen if all 8 billion of us followed this routine? Well, the author outlines 5 massive interconnected societal shifts. First, global productivity explodes from all that focused work. At the same time, worldwide health rises, which unburdens our hospitals. This is paired with an increase in spirituality to foster peace, while those balanced hours start to strengthen fragmented families and elevate creativity to a global standard. And this brilliantly illustrates how the author connects very basic, daily micro habits to these absolute massive macro outcomes for the entire human species. All of which leads to this final conclusion right from the text. Humanity would enter a new era of balance, peace, productivity, creativity, and spiritual strength. It's quite the vision. Impartially speaking, the author is describing the closest thing possible to a global renaissance, and it's driven entirely by individual daily routines. It really forces us to look at our own calendars in a completely new light, doesn't it? The small choices we make every single morning might actually have consequences far, far beyond our own lives. Which leaves us with one final, pretty fascinating question to reflect on today. Is a global renaissance just a schedule away?